Hello, everyone. This light is like, if I turn this off, it's not that bad. Okay, hey everyone. My name is Genevia. I am a copywriter slash beauty founder turned web designer at HB Lighthouse, which is a design studio that helps health and beauty brands launch their websites for the first time or redesign their existing website on Shopify. So today I wanted to talk about what I do as a web designer and developer so that the foundation is set, that there's an understanding of what is possible when it comes to web designers and developers because they're not all created equal. Lots of us do lots of different things. So I just wanted to briefly share what I do as a designer and developer. So there are folks that just do branding. There are folks who just code. There are folks who only install themes and like will just design whatever's available as far as sections. And so what I do is I implement a client's brand strategy. So I don't do branding for clients at the moment. Might offer that service at some point, but I don't do that right now. What I do is take your brand strategy, so all of the assets, your logo, professional images, your color palette, your fonts, and then whatever brand experience you've decided, I implement that on your website. So, and I also implement your copy. So I also don't write copy for folks. That may be a service that I offer at a later point. I'm not sure, still figuring that out if I want to take that on because that is a lot. But um, I take your copy, but I do provide copy prompts for my clients. So there is a guide on what to write for each section of your website, and like submit or not submit, but I give you a document to help you write your own copy if you need that. Um, so I take all that information, and now I'm responsible now for developing a website strategy or e-commerce strategy, and I talk more about what that is in another video called strategy. Well, the thumbnail is called strategy, but the actual video, I'm not sure. But look for the thumbnail that says strategy. And I go through what an e commerce strategy is. Some people also call it a website strategy. And so I put that document together and I use all of your brand strategy to create that document. And then I also provide recommendations on all the things. Again, I will link that ecom strategy video down below so that you have a better understanding of what goes into that particular document. So with that document, that's where I build your strategy for your website. And then I also, as a designer, am responsible for just like the look and feel. So the structure, um, the design layout, rather, not well, the structure as well. But I'm responsible for how your website is laid out, the look, the feel, coming together using your existing brand assets. So again, your color palette, logo, all the things. So I put together it's very visual. So like I put together wireframes and all of that and received your approval. And I'll probably do like a process video at another date because that's pretty in depth as well. But just to give you guys a high level overview of what I do, I'm going to design and lay out the website. A part of my job is also paying attention to accessibility. So I will review your color palette and make sure that there are a good number of light and dark colors so that the contrast is really high. Because accessibility is really important for those who have low vision or maybe dexterity challenges. And so you want to have colors that will be visible and show up for everyone. And then your website also has to be accessible with just a keyboard. So some folks may not be able to use a mouse for whatever reason, and they literally will access your website through the keyboard. So, like, there are ways to access a website with just using a keyboard, arrows, and things of that nature. And so, I have to make sure that folks who need to use their keyboard to access your website are able to do that. And then I'm also just responsible as a designer for the website's experience. So when folks come onto your website, I have to create an experience that they're able to use, not just accessible, but they're able to use it and it makes sense and it flows and they're able to find certain things really well. So I have to make sure that links are driving folks to the right pages. And then again, just making sure that the experience on your website is cohesive. And in addition to that, I also always strive to make sure that your website is memorable so that folks are always coming back. They're engaged, they're excited to learn more about your products and just like read all the content on your website because it's laid out in a way that's extremely, again, engaging, fun, um, and exciting. So I make sure that they are stimulated in a way that keeps them coming back and keeps you making money. So now as a developer, there is some overlap. So yes, I'm still as a developer, meaning programming language. Like so I have to add programming language, which is another word or there's another term for that, and it's called coding. So, and there is some overlap with designing and developing. So, I still am responsible as a developer for the experience of your website and how folks are using it. So, I have to also create a memorable experience for them through development, through coding. So, as a coder, I use programming language like HTML and CSS. And Shopify specifically has Liquid is what their templating language is, which just means that like there are themes that are on the Shopify website. So you can select the theme. So folks who are creating themes are using Liquid to create themes. So I can create my own theme. I don't know that I'm going to offer that as a service, but I can do it. What I do know that I will be doing with Liquid is creating like custom sections if I need to. So I have a concept project that I worked on that I will share and just give you guys an example of what Liquid looks like on a website. And it could, you don't necessarily have to know these details, but it's just part of like what I do as a developer on Shopify. I can code templates, I can code themes. And so I use CSS really for styling. So like when you see different design and style elements, that's CSS. When you see content, that's always HTML. So content is HTML and CSS is like the style of a website. You don't necessarily need coding always to style a website. You can literally just use the theme, um, which I recommend for folks who are just starting out. But coding is another, it's like another level. It's like an elevated look and feel, and it really sets you apart from your competitors when you are looking to then redesign or rebrand. But when you're starting out, I think using a theme and then customizing it to your brand is fine. It's perfectly fine. So that is what I do as a developer. I'm also responsible for accessibility. So again, making sure that things like animations, when I code animations, that they are not showing up for folks who have selected on their computer reduced motion. So folks who don't want to see motion on a website typically have that checked. And when I'm creating animation, I have to there's certain code that I have to include on your website in the back end that honors that person's request not to see motion on their website. So there are things like that that I have to consider for every website that I build because not everyone is created equal, and people have certain needs when it comes to accessibility. So I always have to design a website that is accessible. And then I also optimize for desktop and mobile, and a designer is going to do that as well. They're going to optimize your website for speed and for just the look on desktop and mobile because it's not always going to look the same, and it shouldn't because mobile users typically want speed. They want to be able to get to what they need or wherever they need to go fast, and desktop users need the same thing. But I think for mobile, certain images are not going to scale and look proportional, or they're not going to look, they're not going to make sense on a desktop and mobile, especially if the image is like vertical and then you have a horizontal phone that's not going to fit you have a vertical phone that's not going to fit a horizontal photo properly. So you have to be able to make adjustments and things of that nature. And then obviously, speed is a huge factor when it comes to mobile. So, like, images slow down the website. So, like, all of those things I have to put into consideration when building your website for your desktop and for a mobile experience. And a web designer is also going to do the same thing. But when it comes to coding, there's other things to consider. I can always adjust what shows up on mobile by using coding. I can adjust what shows up on a tablet by using coding. So that is just a little bit of information about what I do as as a web designer and developer. Excuse me, getting tongue tied. Um, so if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to this video if you haven't already, and thumbs up. There's a button down below. I always forget which side. I think it's this side right here. Where am I in the camera? Right there somewhere. Um, again, leave a comment if you have any questions, and follow us on TikTok and Instagram at HP Lighthouse. And I will see you all in the next video. Ciao.